the problem that we are having, if this transition has any problem whatsoever, I'll put the blame squarely on the Supreme Court of Nigeria, because it is the responsibility of the Supreme Court of Nigeria to determine a constitutional issue on a major political party during the constitutional period. It's politically expedient for the court to do that. The Supreme Court is the court of justice, it's a court of law, and it's a court of policy. It's a political court. It ought to have used its authority to resolve this political issue. But the Supreme Court now refused to do so, for whatever reason. And by refusing to do so, it has affected the PDP, the major political party, and by affecting the major political party, it has affected the transition of the transitional period of this election. So let us hope, let us pray that all will go well. But that for the Supreme Court at this material time to refuse determining such a critical matter that was put before it.
I ever heard the name Plato? He was a Greek philosopher born in Athens during the classical period in ancient Greece. He founded the Platonist school of thought and academy, the first institution of higher learning on the European continent. He once said, "One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors." Absolutely spot on. All right, our next quote is from Jens Stoltenberg, Norwegian politician who's been serving as the 13th Secretary General of NATO since 2014, a member of the Norwegian Labour Party. He previously served as the 34th Prime Minister of Norway from 2000 to 2001, and again from 2005 until 2013. He was once quoted as saying that by voting, we add our voice to the chorus that forms opinions and the basis for actions. Okay, now let's bring it back home to our very own Obi Ezekwesili, former Minister of Education in Nigeria, an activist and the leader of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. She once said, "If a man hits you in time of courtship, the signs are strong that you'll spend your life with a bad copy of Mike Tyson. Don't." Okay, that's a strong one, don't you think? All right, so let's see how all of this could relate to what we'll be discussing tonight. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. As always, I'm Annabelle Oji. Now today we'll turn our attention from international and national matters to the subnational, and we're precisely moving to Adamawa State, where no fewer than 663 delegates elected Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri as the People's Democratic Party's governorship candidate to contest the 2023 election for a second term of office. Now recall that Fintiri was the only contestant following the disqualification of Mr. Jamir Waziri by the screening committee. So tonight, we will be discussing with Dr. Umar Ardo, governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party come 2023. We'll get to find out why he left the People's Democratic Party, where he has been a chieftain, in fact, one of the founding fathers, for years, to Social Democratic Party, and also we'll be able to find out how fat or slim his chances are to finally make it to the seat as the governor of Adamawa State after contesting 3 different times under the platform of PDP. Plus, plenty more where all of that came from. Let's go on this quick break, and when we come back, the conversation will get started. I'll see you shortly. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Chieftain's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you're right on time for the interview. Our guest on the show tonight is Dr. Umar Ardo. He is the governorship candidate for Social Democratic Party in representing Adamawa State. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Annabelle.
It's great to have you again. All right, so now, first of all, congratulations for emerging as the governorship candidate representing your party in Adamawa State. But before we get right into getting the details of your manifesto and blueprint for your party, or when you emerge as the governor of the state, kindly walk us through your personal assessment of the primaries that represented you as the governorship candidate of your party. Did they actually provide a level playing field for you, and or were you actually unopposed? Walk us through all that happened at the period.
Okay, thank you. You know, the new Electoral Act has provided 3 ways to emerge as a candidate. Either direct primaries, indirect primaries, and consensus. Now, consensus is actually the best form of democracy, where everybody comes in and say, we have adopted such and such a person. In fact, under the presidential system of government, the first form of nomination is through consensus. Okay. President George Washington of the United States, that started the presidential system of government in the world, was nominated by consensus. His successor, John Adams, was also nominated by consensus. So consensus actually is the foundational base of democracy, at least the presidential system of government. So I emerged through consensus under the SDP. The SDP is an old political party, as you know. It was established by former President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and it went into election in 1993, where it produced Chief MKO Abiola, but before then, it also produced late General Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua before the process was annulled. Then it produced Chief MKO Abiola, who went into the general election, who won the election, but it was also annulled. So, and in Adamawa State, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was a member of the SDP. He contested on the SDP. A controversial result came up, and he was disqualified. Then there was Dr. Balataka, late Dr. Balataka, who worked very hard to put the party firmly in Adamawa State. And in 2015, despite the enormous tsunami that the Buhari tsunami came about with in 2015, SDP became number 2 in Adamawa State. So SDP has a firm support base in Adamawa. So my choice to join SDP was actually a calculated choice. And so when I took over the party, it had problems. I went there, did the very best I could to resolve these problems, and then emerged as the consensus candidate of the party without any rancor, without any litigation, and without any issue whatsoever.
So you're actually saying that they provided a level playing field.
Yes.
It all went successfully.
Yes.
No issue, no rancor.
No issue, no rancor whatsoever. And I give credit to the national leadership of the SDP, because in order to avoid litigation, the national leadership of the party did not go for money, to get money from candidates and then nominate several candidates, which gives the basis for litigation. So it just chose credible guys across the country and nominated them on the basis of consensus.
That means you were unopposed?
Yes, that is what it means.
Oh, great. Okay, now, so for those who do not know a lot about you, when they decide to look into your background, what they'll find is that you're a researcher, you're a historian, you're a teacher, you're a lecturer, a public commentator, a media person, SA to the Vice President on State and Local Government Affairs, and also the SA to former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo on research and strategy. And you have quite a humongous political initiatives and contributions to Nigeria's national politics. But then if they decide to dive deeper into politics, they might not find so much, aside the fact that you've contested for the governorship election in Adamawa State under the platform of the People Democratic Party in 2010, 2012, and 2014, and now in 2023. Now, so why go into mainstream politics, and why contest for the fourth time to become the governor of Adamawa State? Why not something else?
Oh, well, you know, destiny. Sometimes you don't actually plan things. Things just happen, and you react to what happened, and then it leads you to a certain path in life. I never thought in my life that I was going to put myself forward for a political contest. I have always been politically oriented since I was a kid. I've been politically oriented. I come from a political family. The younger brother of my father and the younger brother of my mother was the member of the Northern Region House of Assembly from my constituency. So, and my father is a traditional ruler, and being a traditional ruler, and under the First Republic, the traditional rulers played a critical role in politics. So, by the time I was growing up, I found out that in our household, a lot of political activities were taking place. So I tended to incline myself to politics. So, and when I went to university, I studied history. And you know, history is the foundation of any society. Nobody who does not understand history will understand society. And if you don't understand society, actually you cannot play good politics. So I joined politics by accident. The former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, was actually like a brother, you know, to me. And when he was contesting his governorship election in Adamawa State, I was with him throughout. In fact, his acceptance speech as a governor-elect of Adamawa State, I drafted it for him, and that, like you know, see the cameraman, see me, see him, and then he read that. So we went and then transmitted that. Then from there, I continued with him until he became the vice presidential candidate, and then he later emerged as the vice president, and thankfully he nominated me for appointment, and I was appointed by President Olusegun Obasanjo as the state SA States and Local Government, and then later I became SA Research and Strategy. Now all these are political offices, and they deal directly with politicians. So over time, I got to know the politics of the country. As a state and local government, I had, you know, contact with each and every governor in the country. Then I had contact with virtually each and every local government chairman. Actually, I initiated for the establishment of Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON. And when we inaugurated ALGON on the 30th of November 1999 here in Abuja, the politics then started. So while dealing with politicians, I started to notice a lot of other deficiencies in those politicians, and I was working with the vice president. I would write advices and so on and so forth. So I've been in the political arena all through. So it is not so difficult, therefore, for me to say that I will contest. Now, the reason why I contested the election was, if you look at my background, I had some problems, you know, with in my office with the former vice president, and then I resigned from the villa. Although the resignation was rejected, but the situation was not very normal. So after we were relieved of our appointment by President Olusegun Obasanjo because of the conflict that they had with the former vice president, I then initiated, you know, conceived the South-South presidency, the Peter Odili for president. I conceived it, worked on it, and I became the director of research and strategy for that campaign until unfortunately the thing collapsed. The reasons for why it collapsed is not as a result of the strategic trajectory, but as a result of one or two things that I need not put it there, so I put it outside in the public. Then I then was appointed to be the chairman of Governor Murtala Nyako's campaign in my area, in my local government, and I was made the secretary of that campaign in my chiefdom, comprising of almost 4 local government areas. And I, during the rerun of Nyako presidency, Nyako governorship campaign in 2008. So, and we delivered. That area was ACN, 100% ACN. It voted AC from councillor to president. But within a period of 2 months, when I took over as the chairman of the campaign, we obtained everything, and PDP won superlatively. Now, after that, in fact, PDP won so superlatively that AC did not even challenge it at the tribunal. So after that, I then had problem with the governor. And because I believe in what I say. When I say something, I stand on what I say. But it seems so many people say things in order to get elected, but after getting elected, they forgot they even said what this. So I did not like it, and I opposed the governor on that. And it is this opposition that now led me to say, okay, I will challenge him against that particular office of the governor. That's why I contested in 2011, actually, the transitional period of 2011, I contested. Then the court said that they will not go into election. So it went up to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court reversed the decision of the lower courts. They said we should go back to election. So I contested 2012. On both occasions, I was denied the nomination. So I now challenge it in court. So it began my journey in the Nigerian courts, which went from High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and I became a perpetual litigant. Yes,
a regular visitor.
A regular visitor, in court. And after that, I went 11 times, and I read a book, Court and Politics, chronicling my experience in the Nigerian theater. So I now narrated all the things that happened.
All right.
So this is how I joined politics. Partly, it's by not by design, but by
faith,
destiny.
Okay.
And then partly, maybe by design as well. I don't know. Okay.
All right. You've actually talked about a lot of things, and we're going to unbundle them as we go on. But now let's talk about PDP, Adamawa State. Now, in Adamawa State, it has been known to be like a PDP or APC state. So now, how would you keenly contest, or how are you planning to keenly contest with some political bigwigs that you already have in Adamawa State, including the incumbent governor, Ahmadu Fintiri, who is
Ahmadu Fintiri.
Ahmadu Fintiri, I beg your pardon. And now, seeing that you've left PDP for SDP, when we know that SDP is the third force that they are yet to gain ground, especially in the state. So how certain are you that your party will come out victorious at the end of the whole race, considering the big names that you already have going with you in the ring?
Well, you see, big names usually claim ownership of the voters, but they actually don't. They just talk about it, but the voters have the minds of their own. And what gave me the strength is the new electoral process initiated by INEC leadership, and then consummated by the National Assembly and signed into law by the President. The Electoral Act of 2022 is such that all man-made rigging schemes are eliminated. There are basically 4 methods of rigging. One is irregular voting. People that have not even registered can go and cast their votes, like children voting, or you've registered in point A, you go and vote in point B, and so on. So that is eliminated by the new Electoral Act, by the new election process. Secondly is multiple voting. They give 5-6 people 1,000, 2,000 ballot papers, and they go somewhere and then become printing. This itself is eliminated. Then there is vote allocation. They will not even cast the vote. They will just bring the result sheet and they enter whatever the result that they want to put. That itself has been eliminated. Then the result changing by the collation. This is the result that we have at the polling unit, but the moment you take it from the polling unit before it goes to the collation center at the ward, it is changed. You had maybe 500 and your opponent had 50. By the time they go there, your opponent has 1,000 and you have 22. So this has also been eliminated. So, and these rigging schemes are usually at the advantage of incumbents or oligarchs of the system. So with the elimination of all these things, there is nothing again that is left. It is what the people vote for so that will actually come out.
Are you saying that you're 100% confident with the 2023 elections and INEC?
Oh yeah, I am 99.9% confident of that. I support that position. I am happy with it, and it is the basis that gives me the strength to go into this race. And talking about incumbent, actually now incumbent is more of disadvantage than an advantage. Why? Because the incumbents, virtually all the incumbents, from the president down to the councillor, they just went there to feather their nest. No incumbent has performed superlatively in their offices and performed honestly and trust and the trust of the people. Very, very. I can't see any incumbent. Virtually all incumbents have, incurred the wrath of Nigerians, the wrath of their constituents. And in Adamawa State, it is even on a high level, on a high scale. So incumbency is actually a disadvantage now than an advantage. So, and we know how to harvest this disadvantage. I do personally know how to harvest. And if you go to Adamawa State, you made a statement saying that PDP, SDP is not strong or known. Something like that you said in your introductory speech. But it's not true. SDP has taken over Adamawa as it is. SDP has taken over Adamawa. The PDP candidate is no more afraid of the APC candidate than the SDP. So also the APC candidate is less afraid of the PDP candidate than the SDP. Okay. So we are the denominator, we are the referee in that state, and I can assure you that SDP will win Adamawa State. I am very confident, 99.9% confident, and that is not being overconfident though.
Interesting. All right, now let's talk about your exit from the People's Democratic Party, a political party that you've been for years as one of the founding fathers, and you've helped to nurture and help also to build that party even to its growth level, and now you moved to SDP. What was your intention for leaving the party, even with your supporters, to SDP? Well,
a lot of things. Remember I told you that I took that party to court 11 times. You cannot take a party to a court 11 times and still say that that party is a good party. As far as you are concerned, PDP hasn't been a good party. From 2003 up to date, PDP has been playing pranks with its internal democracy. Internal democracy composites basically two things. Electing the party executive in a free, fair, and transparent manner, which PDP never did, and then nominated its candidates also in a very free, fair, and transparent manner, which PDP never did. It is on these two issues that I have always taken them, to court. So they've always put self-interest over and above the interests of the country, the interests of the party, and the interests of its members.
How come you managed to stay with them even up until now?
Well, I had thought that I will use the judicial process to rectify this. So it took me a period of almost a decade to move from High Court up to Supreme Court, and then start again from High Court up to Supreme Court. It took me almost a period of a decade, and it took more than 300 million of my meager resources to fight and ensure that PDP does constitutional things. But every time PDP comes up, it doesn't do anything on the basis of the Constitution, on the basis of law, and on the basis of justice and honesty. So what made me the last straw that broke the camel's back was the unconstitutional way that the PDP removed its national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus. The provision of the party was very clear. Only NEC can discipline a NEC member. Prince Secondus was not just a NEC member, he was its chairman. Yet, when those power blocks who have, through fictitious circumstances, got into public offices, thought that they could do and undo the way they wanted, they now tried to remove Secondus through the legal process. When they failed, they then went back to the ward, Secondus ward in Rivers State, and then got the ward executive to remove the chairman. The ward executive, they to remove the national chairman. Not only have they removed him as the national chairman, but they have also dismissed him as a member of the party. And then they now took this resolution of the ward to the court. And the court now passed a judgment agreeing with it. So as it is, Secondus has been removed as national chairman, and he is also not a member of PDP. So the only way for him to change this is to go back to the court and appeal it. He appealed it at the Court of Appeal. It was not determined. He then went to the Supreme Court, and what the Supreme Court did was what made me to leave the party. So are you aggrieved that he was unjustly removed, or are you aggrieved that because you are a clan or a friend or a movement to the Prince Secondus? No, both. But fundamentally, it's because he was removed unjustly and unconstitutionally. Even if he was my friend, if he is removed constitutionally, what can I say? But when you are removed unjustly and unconstitutionally, and then get the court to accept this without going through the entire process, that makes it even, that makes it worse. So when the case went to the Supreme Court now adjourned the case till 30th of October 2023 for hearing. 30th of October 2023 for hearing. Now, the Supreme Court, the judiciary has a saying: justice delayed is justice denied. Obviously, the Supreme Court of Nigeria denied Secondus justice, and by so doing, it affected the PDP, the major opposition political party in the country, at a transitional period during election time. So the problem that we are having, if this transition has any problem whatsoever, I'll put the blame squarely on the Supreme Court of Nigeria, because it is the responsibility of the Supreme Court of Nigeria to determine a constitutional issue on a major political party during the constitutional period, it's politically expedient for the court to do that. The Supreme Court is the court of justice, it's a court of law, and it's a court of policy. It's a political court. It ought to have used its authority to resolve this political issue. But the Supreme Court now refused to do so, for whatever reason. And by refusing to do so, it has affected the PDP, the major political party, and by affecting the major political party, it has affected the transition of the transitional period of this election. So let us hope, let us pray that all will go well. But that for the Supreme Court at this material time to refuse determining such a critical matter that was put before it. One, an issue of justice. Two, a constitutional issue. An issue of justice on an individual who happened to be the national chairman of party, and a constitutional matter which happens to be of the major opposition party. I can't see the reason why they did that. So when the court passed that, made that determination that day, that until 30th of October 2023, I knew that there was no reason for me to continue in the PDP.
That actually doubts your faith.
That actually, you know, I had already my faith on the judiciary, having gone to court 11 times and having never gotten my case to be determined on the merit. But every time they will look for one technical issue and knock the case out over and above the issue of justice. I decided that it is enough for me. So I went to SDP, took the SDP ticket in Adamawa State, and then I said, let me put my faith before the people of Adamawa State, and let's see what they do. All
right, great. We're due for a break. So let's go on this quick break, and when we return, we'll definitely expand this conversation. Don't move, also. We'll be right back.
Benue Valley will feed the entire country, and we intend to use it. Adamawa State alone can feed the entire country. Just go there and see. Go to Guruk, and we also have plenty of mineral resources in that state. We will now have to take it up on the federal government in the amendment of the constitution, so that those solid minerals, let states control their minerals. Let the oil owners control their oil. Let the gas owners control their gas. Let the solid minerals control their solid minerals.
So are you saying that you are for restructuring?
No. When you say restructuring, you are, let us say resource control.
Okay.
I am for resource control, and I mean it, because I know that we can do it. Why we have not done it is because those that are put there, they have as much ideas in their head. With all due respect, well, they don't have much ideas.
If you've just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Chieftain's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've actually missed out on a lot, but then you can still join in the conversation. Our guest on the show tonight is Dr. Umar Ardo. He is the governorship candidate for SDP in Adamawa State. Now, before we went on that break, you've said quite a lot of things. But now let's talk about, I actually recall a statement that you made in a particular interview 3 years ago, where you said, and quote, let me take the quote. You said, "You sound lost or dumb when you are defending President Buhari." Now, that statement, that was when you're actually with the PDP. Are you still holding forth to that statement? And why exactly did you make that statement?
Well, the issue of, this is a very dicey issue. When you are talking of the president of your country, you have to be a little bit, circumspect. I said so. I believe I recall I said so. I said so because I had always, believed in the Buhari's ability to resolve the teething issues of this country. I supported him. I was loyal to him. And if I can say it, I said it before, but let me repeat it again. The formation of APC for Buhari's fourth contest and victory in 2015 was actually my construct. It's my construct. And I constructed that in the hope and belief that when he comes in, he will resolve issues. But we are all living witnesses now that these issues have not been resolved, and in fact, they've been compounded. And I have been, with him for a period of 3 years, driving the process from 2011 to 2013, 31st July, when APC was registered. I conceived the idea, drew out the blueprint, and then drove the process physically, personally, I put in the money, I put in the contacts, I put in the effort, I put in the time, I did everything until the APC was registered, and then it was taken over by the normal party mechanism, and then he emerged president. But after he emerged president, things changed. A lot of things changed. Personally, I have not been put in the regime. Not that it really mattered. If the regime had, put out the right candidates, the right people, and the right policies, and the right, we get the right results, I would have been happy.
So you're trying to find out, do you actually have any personal rancor with the president?
Well, not really personal rancor. It's not rancor. If I tell you that I am happy with it, personally I am not. Certainly I am not. And no person will be happy too. And I think if other people who played the role that I played and gotten the treatment that I got, they would have been a whole lot deadlier. But I kept quiet, only writing out once in a while, talking to you like this and expressing my views, criticizing the regime. I never went personal against the president, but I criticized the regime, I criticized the policies, and I cannot support the regime. Okay. I cannot give my support to a regime that doesn't work for the people, work for the country. That is it. I still stand with that position that I said 3 years ago, as you put it.
All right, great. So now let's next few minutes, let's get some of your blueprints and manifestos. Now, I'm quite aware that you scored impressive achievements as the special assistant on state and local government, where you, like you talked about, stated, where you initiated and supervised the formation of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, in 1999, and of which that idea of ALGON was a great idea to give elected local government councils some measure of autonomy from the arbitrary state government's manipulation and control, and also to checkmate the excessive or the excesses of the state governors over the local government, especially in the state governors' loss for absolute control of the local government and also statutory accounts. But after 23 years, since 1999, even until date of forming or initiating that ALGON, Dr. Umar, we're still talking about financial and administrative autonomy for the local government. Now, was that an initiative, would you actually say it was poorly formed or badly monitored after 23 years if we're still talking about this? What gives?
Well, the reason for the formation of ALGON was, as you rightly stated, to get the local governments handle their affairs over and above the influence of governors. If you look at Section 7 of the Constitution, it has given the state authority over local government. It says that the House of Assembly will legislate on local government affairs, including their finances. With this statement, governors simply make all sorts of legislations in the state to take over the local government funding, for example. While the local government councils were under or are still under the state, if the local government councils will form an association, that association will not be under the governors. Okay. And that is the basic thought for the formation of that association, so that the association will be independent and will work for the interests of the local government councils. And you can see during this period, you will see how Algon became a very strong force in the country. And so, like any other thing that goes into this at this level, it goes into politics. Politics, or let's say politics comes into it, and so politics came into Algon. First, I was removed as SA local government, and then given SA strategy. So, and with that, the local state and local government office was moved from the office of the vice president to the office of the president. So these are things that are over and above, you are the things that you can handle. So over the years, when I left, we initiated and we took the Kaduna state government, to court over this issue of control of local government funds. I can't remember what was the outcome of that case, because the moment I was redeployed from that office, and they say as if I'm trying to cause problem in the country. Most of the governors didn't like it. They point fingers at the office of the vice president, and the vice president wouldn't want to have problems with the governors. So I am a small fish, therefore I have to face the consequences. So this is what transpired in the local government and Algon system. So, but they continued. The governors became so powerful, and we have not been able to amend the constitution, to give these local governments absolute autonomy.
So, would you actually say that is this actually a problem of leadership, or a leadership problem?
It's also a constitutional issue. Actually, it's a constitutional issue. If the constitution had made the matter very clear and removed all the local governments from the control of the state, if Section 7 had been amended appropriately, these things will not be happening. But so long as Section 7 of this constitution remains the way it is, so long we will have the local governments completely subjected to the governors. As far as most of the governors are concerned, especially in our state, the local government account is the pocket money for the governors.
All right, so now you were a lecturer in the Department of History at the Nigeria Defense Academy, and then you also initiated and coordinated post-amnesty conference, and then on the Niger Delta conflict, as in Kaduna, in October 2009. And aside that, you have also had a personal experience on Nigeria's security challenges. Now, what are your blueprints with regards to insecurity, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and even the menacing militant attacks, the pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft, as the federal government have reportedly claimed that over 80% of Nigeria's revenue always go to crude oil theft, and I know that you have an experience in that regard. So what are your blueprints for insecurity, or tackling insecurity in the state? Because we know that Adamawa State was reported to be among some of the states in the northeast that is the epicenter of insecurity and insurgency in Nigeria.
Well, okay, thank you. With regards to oil bunkering and so on, I wouldn't say that I have much experience in that, and actually it's not actually my domain. So we don't have oil in Adamawa State, we don't have oil bunkering in Adamawa State, but we have international security challenge. Adamawa State is lying eastwards, bordering the Cameroon from the top, from north to south. We are bordering Cameroon. In 1999, I think it was either November or December 1999, I initiated a security conference of international borders for the Northeast Zone, which we did in Yola. And papers were presented and resolutions were reached, and they are there. If we had followed up with the resolutions that we had, we will not be having this banditry, this crisis that we are having in the Northeast Zone as a whole. We did not. Secondly, I also initiated the Border Communities Development Agency, which is there, and the idea of it is that to give development in our border communities, so as to give for these communities to be robust and enhance our sovereignty as a nation. And it's supposed to have taken off in 2007 or thereabout. I left office, and I had worked hoping that I will even be appointed. In fact, I even lobbied to be appointed the executive secretary of that Border Communities Development Agency, so that I will implement the ideas that I had for the formation of that agency. Unfortunately, the politics was such that I was not appointed, and some other people were appointed. But I have not seen in Adamawa State, any positive effect, any development project on this throughout Adamawa State. I don't know, maybe it's there, but I very much doubt it. So if we are able, the best way to resolve security problem is to eliminate economic hardship. 90% of the security challenges we have, they are as a result of poverty.
So how do you eliminate economic hardship or poverty?
In Adamawa State, Adamawa State, we rely, on the Benue Valley. From the beginning of Adamawa to the end of Adamawa, we are on the Benue Valley, and that area can feed the entire nation. So if we will go a full agric, I will first handle the ecology, push back the desertification by tree planting. I've enumerated what we will do. Each and every member of citizen of Adamawa State who is of voting age will have at least one tree to plant. Those that are working in public office, they will have at least 2 trees. And those that are not of voting age, if they plant trees, 1, 2, or 3, they will be given some prizes. So the details of this, will be worked out. You cannot build the ecology, especially agro-allied economy, without you solving the ecology. I mean, you cannot build the economy without you solving the ecological problem. Yeah. So we will solve the ecological problem. It's not going to be in 1 day, 2 days, 1 year, 2 years. But I can assure you, within a period of 8 years, if I am governor of Adamawa State will obviously not look the way it is looking.
You're not even looking at 4 years. You're already looking at 8 years.
No, of course. Because you see, the 4 years, 4 years is just a very short period of time. The 4 years to put in the basics. And then by the next 4 years, you have consolidated everything, and everything will be flourishing. And then I will work towards, seeing that I have my successor, succeed me and work on this. So whosoever that will succeed me will have to be key.
There will be continuity.
There has to be continuity.
Okay.
So by the time we are able to do so, we will resolve this the poverty level of Adamawa State. And I also plan that we will form what I want to call like agricultural state, or the agricultural community of the Benue Valley states, which will be Adamawa, Gombe, Taraba, Kogi, Nasarawa states, and Benue states. These 6 states, we will form a community, agricultural community, and that will even change this geographical pattern, ethnic pattern. We will now form a new professional community for agriculture. The Benue Valley will feed the entire country, and we intend to use it. Adamawa State alone can feed the entire country. Just go there and see. Go to Google, and we also have plenty of mineral resources in that state. We will now have to take it up on the federal government in the amendment of the constitution so that those solid minerals, let states control their minerals. Let the oil owners control their oil. Let the gas owners control their gas. Let the solid minerals control their solid minerals.
So are you saying that you are for restructuring?
No, when you say restructuring, you are, let us say resource control.
Okay.
I am for resource control, okay. And I mean it, because I know that we can do it. Why we have not done it is because those that are put there, they have as much ideas in their head, with all due respect. Well, they don't have much ideas, those that are there, with all full respect.
All right. So now let's go to other sectors of the economy. Let's talk about education. Now, how do you intend to salvage the ailing education sector, especially with regards to children beggars, the almajiris? We've seen how much some previous governments have come to see how they can salvage that sector, but then not much is done. You still have the almajiris. So what do you intend to do in that sector?
Well, education is the foundation of development of any society, and now we are living in a society where education, knowledge is the backbone of every person. A knowledgeable society is a developed society. So I intend to give education to each and every child in Adamawa State. Free, each and every child, because I am a beneficiary of it. I went to primary school, I went to secondary school, I did first degree, I did masters, I did PhD. If you put all the monies that I expended in getting this education, is less than 15,000 naira today. Is less than 15,000 naira from primary school to PhD. And it's all either given to me free by the state or on scholarship by the state,
okay.
Or on absence, leave of absence, sponsorship also by the state. So if I can benefit on this, why can't the children of today benefit? The reason is because of the operators. The operators during my time, the operators of the polity during my time were honest. They didn't steal the money that was for the education and so on. While now, the operators have taken and personalized every public form, every public project, every public servant is in the state. The money for this in the state is the money for the governor. So
how do you intend to bankroll that project? Are you going to be, do you intend to bring it from your personal account to pay for the scholarships and all?
How? I don't have money to pay for.
So how do you intend to finance it?
I told you that we are going to create wealth through our agricultural program.
Okay.
So once we create wealth, and then this wealth will now be used to inject back into the system by educating our kids, by returning adult education and making education free for all. Once we are able to do so, we will do it. If we block the leakages, the UBE has been there. The UBE needed to have educated our kids. But those who have been given the UBE the responsibility to do so have taken the monies of the UBE and living fabulous lifestyle. You have nothing to show the world other than you are a multi-billionaire. Where did you get the money? It is in that institution that you are given responsibility to manage. So the moment we block these things, the money will be there. To educate the kids. I have no intention of I have a house in my village. I have a house in the capital of my chiefdom. I have a house at the capital of my state. I have a house in the capital of my country. I don't need any house again in this world. At my age, what do I need any house again? But when you get old and then while you are in it, you are making money to buy more houses, to buy more cars. If I don't buy any car at all, I will live with a car until I die.
All right, so our time is fast spent. So very quickly, in less than 1 minute. Now, we know that the former vice president and the current presidential candidate for PDP is where you decamped from. That's Atiku Abubakar, is also an indigene of Adamawa State. So tell us, what is your relationship with the former vice president, and what are your hopes for his emergence as Nigeria's next CEO? Very quickly.
Well, you know, my relationship with him is cordial. I have nothing against him. I wish him good luck, but we are in different political parties. You know, so if he wins, you know, I'll be happy to go and congratulate him. You know, if he loses, you know, I'll be sad to go and commensurate with him.
So do you have a particular candidate that you're rooting out for?
Well, I am an SDP candidate. I am an SDP governorship candidate. SDP has a presidential candidate, you know, and we are just waiting to see what the presidential candidate will come up with and how he's going to mobilize us so that we work for him. We are waiting to hear what our presidential candidate will say. Until he says that, you know, I am not going to put myself out for any other candidate yet.
All right, interesting. Thank you so much for your time with us, Dr. Umar Ardo. It's always a pleasure having these discussions with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Annabelle.
All right, so viewers, you've heard it all. I'm sure you must have been rightly educated, entertained, and informed. We have been chatting with Dr. Umar Ardo. He is the governorship candidate for SDP in Adamawa State, and it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep watching The Conversation, because you never know who my next guest will be and what my next topic will be all about. I'll see you next time from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. God bless Nigeria.